Hey, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to do part two in our series of 10 favorite actors. We've done the living actors. Today, we're going to do the actors that have passed away, unfortunately. And there's a ton of them, obviously. So I'm glad to be joined by Brian from Massey's Main Entertainment, Doc, Randall Nelson, the usual guys. We're talking movies this time around. So hope you enjoy and hopes that we touch on some of your favorite actors. So let us know in the comments below. Guys, this was wide open. We're going all the way back to the silent era through the 20s, 30s, and so on, and all the way up to some of the guys that have recently passed within the last 10 years or so. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. But fun to do. Tonight's order is going to be Brian, Doc, and Randy, and then myself to wrap it up. Let's jump in right away because once we get talking about these guys, it'll liven things up. Brian, let's have your list 10 through 1.
10 through 1. All right, this was really tough, guys. I got a lot of scratching out and retyping and writing and all sorts of things. At number 10, I settled on Richard Harris. Very classically trained actor, mostly known a lot for a lot of stage stuff, but still did some really great movies in his time. A Man Called Horace. Obviously, a lot of people are going to know him as being Professor Dumbledore on the Harry Potter series, at least the first two movies anyway. Gladiator, and he played English Bob in Unforgiven, which is like one of my favorite roles with him in there. So I wanted to give him some love. Number 9, I have Heath Ledger. Even though he doesn't have like a huge body of work, the body of work that he did have, very solid. Obviously, you should check out Monsters Ball, Brokeback Mountain, and then, of course, The Dark Knight, which he won his Oscar for, playing the Joker. Just a really talented young man. It's too bad he was taken so young. I feel like that was a guy that was going to be making his mark for a while, but I think the Joker role took quite a bit out of him mentally. So, number 8, I have William Hurt. Kind of dominated the 80s. I think we talked about that a number of times whenever we've discussed him.
Yep.
Children of a Lesser God, Accidental Tourist, The Big Chill, Kiss of a Spider Woman. I mean, he just on and on and on. Later on, he was kind of known for playing Thunderbolt Ross in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so people might know him from that more than anything else. Number 7, I've got Marlon Brando, the Godfather himself, also known for Apocalypse Now, and On the Waterfront as well. Brando, very eccentric person to say the least. I can't even think of a nicer way to even say that at all. He liked the finer things in life, and he liked a lot of it. So we'll just kind of leave it right there. Interesting fella. Number 6 for me, I've got Jimmy Stewart, kind of like the Tom Hanks before Tom Hanks knew he was Tom Hanks type of thing. Kind of the everyday guy, the likable guy, always the good guy type of thing. Vertigo, Rear Window, It's a Wonderful Life, obviously, is probably the movie he's most known for. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, perhaps. But number 5, I've got a personal favorite. I got Alan Rickman here. He also was in the Harry Potter series of Severus Snape, but he was in Closet Land. And, of course, he's known as being Hans Gruber in Die Hard, probably more than anything else. Just a great actor. I mean, a lot of stuff I've seen him in, like Love Actually, smaller roles like Close Your Eyes, kind of an independent film. Just an all-around great actor, very likable person. Number 4, I've got Paul Newman, obviously a big heavy hitter there. Color of Money comes to mind immediately. Nobody's Fool, which he did later on in life, I thought was really great. The Verdict, obviously another great movie of his. Cool Hand Luke is probably what he's most known for from maybe our generation anyway. Number 3, I've got Gregory Peck. Mr. Atticus Finch himself, obviously known for To Kill a Mockingbird. I really liked him in Roman Holiday. That's kind of a personal fave of his for mine. And also in Spellbound, which was the surreal Alfred Hitchcock movie, kind of based a little bit on Salvador Dali type dreamscapes, with some of the cinematic effects that was in that movie. Gregory Peck was just fabulous in it. Number 2, I know this may be a little high, but I think this guy was at the top of his game, and if he would have been alive today, the body of work that this guy would have put together would just been astounding. I've got Philip Seymour Hoffman at number 2, Capote, Almost Famous, 25th Hour, Cold Mountain, just on and on and on. He just started doing this incredible body of work, and he's such a talented guy. Could play just about any type of role, villainous, likable dude, goofball, whatever the case may be. I really liked him. But my number 1 is Cary Grant. Always been one of he's always been my favorite actor, really, of all time. North by Northwest, Operation Petticoat, and one that was really like my personal favorite that my wife and I love to watch together, which is Arsenic and Old Lace. I just, Cary Grant is just like, I say, that Sean Connery ripped off Cary Grant, trying to act all suave and everything. I said, yeah, he's just, he's a British rip-off of Cary Grant. That's all he is. So that's my top 10 guy.
Outstanding. I love it.
Great list.
Got some real heavy hitters in there. Newman, Stewart, Brando, Grant. I mean, Peck. Jesus. Hall of Famers, my book.
Yep.
Outstanding. I think we hit on, I don't want to say what we hit on. We'll talk about that afterwards.
We'll talk about it later, I think. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
All right, Doc, you're up, man.
I'm up. Well, we'll start out, and you're right. It's a personal list, and it's just actors that I miss in my life, if you want the truth. So that's why I'll leave it at. So, but we start off with a hit anyway, Brian. So I got Gregory Peck at number 10 for me here as well. So
nice.
And you touched on a couple there, obviously Kill a Mockingbird, but I got The Omen in there, man. So that's a classic for me as well. So he commands. He's the kind of actor that just commands the room when he's kind of in it and stuff like that. He's always had that presence, and like all these guys are going to be people that I like in their movies, and they make the movies better. That's what I'm going to say. So number 9, I got Jack Lemmon. Another personal for me. The Apartment, The Odd Couple, and stuff like that. But, China Syndrome and Glengarry Glen Ross. This guy, Some Like It Hot. So got quite the repertoire going, like you said. Could be anything and stuff like that. But he's also another guy that just dominates when he's on screen, I think. So, and another one that I miss, man. So Jack's on my list. This one's a little different. My number 8's Bill Paxton.
Wow, nice pick.
Because I miss him. I miss him in everything that he's in. He's entertained me in everything that he's done, from Simple Plan or Aliens or Terminator, Twister. He's done it all, right? So, and it's every time he shows up on screen, I'm happy to see him. So I miss him. So I enjoy Bill. I'll tell you that.
Nice.
Number 7, another Bill, but we'll go with William Holden. Number 7 for me. You can say what the Wild Bunch and stuff like this, but in the Network or whatever else. It's another guy that I just think demands presence when you see him, and he's got that Gregory Peck kind of feel and stuff like that. Sometimes intertwined, I'm sure, at certain points in the career, but William Holden, also gone too soon, man. I just think it's another guy that was just a fantastic actor, man, and always good when he's in the lead role. That's what I find. So my number 6 is really personal. And I'm going to a character-driven actor who was never the lead, but man, do I miss this dude because he was fantastic in everything he was in. So I've got Jack Warden at number 6. Probably the best supporting actor of all time because everything that guy shows up in is fantastic. Just absolutely. You go through The Verdict or Heaven Can Wait. You just start going through this list of movies, from 12 Angry Men all the way through. Jack Warden never appreciated for what he actually did, I think, in theater and movies and stuff like that. But I think he's got a great repertoire, and he's fantastic in every scene that he's in, more or less with me. Number 5 is Jimmy Stewart. So it's a good call there, Brian. I got the same kind of feelings you have. Probably hit on a few there, obviously, right? You could throw Rope into the mix or some other ones. The Rear Windows and the Vertigos and Philadelphia. And Jimmy's got quite the repertoire. He's that everyday guy that you talk about, man, and he has that presence too. And he's very real, right? And it's just a quality of as an actor that just shines through every time you see him. So, yeah, Jimmy. Got Steve McQueen at number 4, man. I miss Stevie too. Probably more because of my dad than anything else like that, and brought up with, The Great Escape and stuff like this. You know, he did The Blob, you know, The Getaway, you know, Thomas Crown Affair, Papillon. He can act, man, and he's got the everyday coolest dude you want to meet kind of vibe with him as he does things too. So Steve McQueen, another guy that just think demands presence and stuff like that. And another one of my favorites that I miss. That's what I put it at. Number 3, also it's all personal list, I guess, in some senses, but I got Robin Williams.
Wow.
Nice.
Surprising. Yeah.
I think he gets overlooked. It's hard. It's you know, in some sense, it's probably harder as hell to be a comedian anyway, or any kind of, you know, that's a tough life.
Just ask Jim Carrey. Yeah.
It's a hard as hell life. And how do you transition that into an actor or a role? And then when he does serious roles, right? You know, the Insomnias or, you know, Dead Poets. I had a soft spot for that one. Good Will Hunting, The Fisher King. The guy can act, man. And he's really good character acting when he gets thrown in those parts. Yeah, he does the Miss Doubtfires. He does all that other stuff. Good Morning Vietnam. I just think, you know, the world would be better with him here in it. Still showing us movies, if you want the truth, because very entertaining and always like Robin. Tough gig for a comedian, man, to be an actor. That's what I'm going to say. I'll take that other guy that at my number 2 that ripped off your guy Cary Grant. So I got Sean Connery. Anybody who can take me through the Bonds at that level, you know, the Doctor Knows, From Russia with Love, and all that kind of stuff, the Untouchables, The Hill, the Anderson tapes, the Russia House. And Connery's an iconic actor in my life, and especially growing up, because I saw a lot of his stuff growing up too, which not going back watching it, but going up watching it as it goes. So that guy was with me my whole life, man, and I miss him. So I'm a big fan of the Untouchables, and I'm glad he won something for some of his acting, at least. Might not have been that role, but he was good in that, so I'll take it. But yeah, Newman's my number 1. That's the guy I miss the most, man. Yeah, The Verdict is one of my favorites. The top 10 are for me. But I got, you know, Cool Hand Luke, The Hustler, you know, everything this guy, man. Slapshot, for crying out loud. I've got I got an array of things that Newman does that every time he shows up on screen, I'm just watching. It doesn't matter what it is. And you can do that. You're really high in my books, man. And he'd be the one that I have right now in my life is the one I miss the most. So I got Newman number 1.
All right.
Excellent. Nice.
Very cool. Like it. Yep. The one I was really thrilled to see was Jack Warden, because I considered him and put him on my honorable mentions, but great actor.
Yeah.
You know, he's snuck in so many movies, and he's like a scene stealer at times. He's
Totally, right? He's got that quality.
Even if he gets 12 minutes on screen, he does a great job.
It's great 12 minutes, man.
Right.
All right, that's 2 great lists. Randy, you're up.
All right. I've actually brought some props. I don't know if they're going to show up. But my number 10 is this guy, James Garner.
James Garner.
Probably the best television actor with the Rockford Files and Maverick and that. But he always brought some humor to his roles, like Support Your Local Sheriff. But he also could do some kind of serious roles in the World War II film of The Americanization of Emily, where he kind of plays a coward that somehow becomes a hero. And then he kind of took Rock Hudson's place in The Thrill of It All, which is what this still was from. But always liked him as an actor, James Garner. Always kind of had a natural ability.
Mm-hmm.
My number 9 is one that Doc had. I've got Sean Connery here. He kind of framed the James Bond role with Goldfinger, From Russia with Love, and some of those. Of course, one of my favorite movies that he was in is The Man Who Would Be King, where he played the adventurer.
Right.
And becomes the king, but didn't go too well after that, if you've seen the movie. And then he mentioned The Untouchables. Oh, there he is. That was a good movie, too. The Hunt for Red October.
Oh, fantastic. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
My number 8 is one. Now, they used to have neighborhood cinemas where you would go to when I was a kid, and we couldn't wait to see the next John Wayne movie.
John Wayne.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this was my favorite movie of all time, actually, The Quiet Man. And I actually have been to Kong in Ireland to see where it was filmed. But he played Sean Thornton. But he could also do the movie I think he should really have got an Academy Award for is The Searchers, where he plays the hate-filled Ethan Edwards is looking for his niece. Great film by John Ford. And then True Grit, Rooster Cogburn, that he actually won the Academy Award for. My number 7 is right there. One of Dockhead, William Holden. One of my favorites is he starts out dead in a pool in Sunset Boulevard, one of the most unique beginnings to a movie.
That's right.
And he tells a story, Stalag 17, where he plays the POW that they think is a traitor.
Yeah.
He actually won the Academy Award for that. And then in A Bridge Over the River Kwai, he was great in that as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
My number 6 is kind of the natural actor, Spencer Tracy.
Spencer Tracy.
He's the guy that said you're supposed to just learn your lines and don't bump into the furniture, although he was a lot more nuanced than that. Inherit the Wind, where he played Clarence Darrow, but Henry Drummond was the name of the character. The Scopes Monkey Trial. Bad Day at Black Rock, where he kind of uncovers a town secret. And he could also do comedy because he did several with Katharine Hepburn, like Adam's Rib. Which is one of my favorites. And I don't know. I love this Humphrey Bogart. Casablanca, one of my all-time favorite movie. It has probably more famous lines in that movie than almost any. I played Rick Blaine, the cafe owner. The Big Sleep, where he played Philip Marlowe. Or he also could play a bad guy like he did Duke Mantee in The Petrified Forest. So that's my number 5. Number 4, one you guys had already, and James Stewart. There he is. This is Rear Window, but he was in so many classic movies. He might have been in more classic movies than anyone, maybe. Vertigo, where he did play kind of an obsessed person, so he wasn't really the guy next door in that one. Or in Harvey, he played Elwood P. Dowd, where he imagines this 10-foot rabbit, or I don't know how tall he was supposed to be. And he also was in some classic westerns like The Naked Spur, where he was a bounty hunter trying to take in Robert Ryan. That was a classic one too. And number 3, one of the best actors, I think, is Robert Mitchum. He played in one of the best film noirs out of the past. He also could be very frightening, like in The Night of the Hunter and Cape Fear. Night of the Hunter is a classic, Charles Laughton's only directed movie. But yeah, he was an interesting character and just seemed so natural on the screen. But if you looked at him, he did so many just little things. And my number 2, I think, was number 1 for Brian, and that's the great Cary Grant. He was great in several Hitchcock movies like North by Northwest, but he could also make fun of himself, like in Bringing Up Baby with Katharine Hepburn, which was probably the classic screwball comedy. And he also was great in another Hitchcock movie, Suspicion, where Joan Fontaine isn't sure that he's wanting to kill her or not, which is great too. But my number 1 is probably going to be a surprise, maybe, but it's James Mason. I just think one of my favorite all-time performance is his performance in A Star Is Born, where he plays Norman Maine. I think that A Star Is Born blows all the others out of the water. When he wants to see Judy Garland for one last time, I just love how he does that scene, although she doesn't know it's going to be the last time. But it's just an amazing performance. He kind of plays the flawed but very interesting Captain Nemo, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And he was also in quite a few British thrillers like Five Fingers, where he plays this traitorous British diplomat, or I guess embassy worker. And he was in several more, like Odd Man Out. But he was also a good character actor too. He did like The Verdict and North by Northwest. That's my favorites. Or is my favorite.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming, but that's an awesome pick, obviously.
I love the pick.
Great pick. I like the diversity we're showing here. We got a lot of different hats in the ring, so to speak. Very cool. All right, my number. Keep in mind, this is my favorite, not my necessarily best actors, and that's I want to preface that because some of these guys aren't known for their acting prowess, but their on screen charisma adds a lot to their repertoire, so to speak. My number 10 is Burt Reynolds. Believe it or not, I love Burt Reynolds, especially in the '70s, giving performances like Deliverance, The Longest Yard. He had that self-assured, cocky, good old boy quality that rung true. A comedy like Smokey and the Bandit, for example, Sharky's Machine, kind of a detective story. Boogie Nights, a later day where he's playing the porn director. Fantastic. So Bert's my number 10. Number 9, I agree with Randy. Robert Mitchum made my list at number 9. He's like a film noir legend. Out of the Past, The Night of the Hunter, Cape Fear. I like Angel Face is an interesting movie. The Sundowners. I like The Sundowners with Gene Simmons, I believe it is. Fantastic. So Robert Mitchum, that craggy look, he's just born to play these roles. Number 8 is William Hurt. I agree with Brian. One of my latter day heroes. I love everything he was in the 80s. Body Heat, Broadcast News, of course. Children of a Lesser God. The Big Chill, a supporting role, but he's the best thing in it. The Accidental Tourist, Altered States, Kiss of the Spider Woman. It goes on and on. So that's number 8, William Hurt. Number 7 is Spencer Tracy. That naturalistic quality that he had. And I have the same movies that Randy had written down. Inherit the Wind, Bad Day at Black Rock, The Old Man and the Sea, Lighter Fare, Father of the Bride, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. He won back-to-back Oscars for Captain's Courageous and Boys Town early in his career, and he did 9 films with Katharine Hepburn, which is they made quite a duo. Number 6, I've got Marlon Brando. That method acting that he brought, him and James Dean actually brought it, Montgomery Clift. But Marlon took it to new levels. Brian called him eccentric. That's exactly what he was. On the Waterfront, A Streetcar Named Desire, The Godfather, the epic role. And I like Last Tango in Paris. It's tough to get through, but he gives such a performance in there. And I think a lot of that was real life stuff. They just turned the camera on and let him go. Number 5 is Steve McQueen. Good call, Doc.
Thank you.
The King of Cool, Laid Back, and another one that has the charisma. He's not going to blow you away with his acting chops, so to speak. But you see him up there. You want to be Steve McQueen. He always gets the hot chick. And he's racing the cars and doing his thing. Bullet, The Cincinnati Kid, Papillon is an underrated film. The Getaway, another one. Magnificent Seven and The Great Escape, of course. Thomas Crown Affair. Great stuff. Number 4 is Paul Newman. Got to put Paul on my list. And I have, of course, The Verdict, Cool Hand Luke, and The Color of Money. Not to mention HUD and Hustler and Butch and Sundance, Slapshot. Road to Perdition, his final role, and, of course, Nobody's Fool. They're all great. Number 3 is Humphrey Bogart, The Maltese Falcon. I mean, it's hard to picture a better film than that. The Big Sleep, In a Lonely Place, Casablanca. It's not my favorite bogey, but it's hard to ignore. Same with The African Queen and Treasure Sierra Madre. I like Key Largo as well. Petrified Forests. Good call on that. Number 2 is Jimmy Stewart, The Everyman, the Tom Hanks. We already talked about that. It's a Wonderful Life is a Christmas staple. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is a really gripping kind of role for him. And, of course, the Hitchcock movies of Rear Window, Vertigo, and Rope. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Can't leave that one off. And I also like You Can't Take It With You, which is this screwball kind of Frank Capra movie. The Shop Around the Corner. I mean, you could name 100 Jimmy Stewart movies. But my number 1, and Brian had him on his list, Philip Seymour Hoffman. That is my favorite actor that is no longer with us. Even in Doubt, which is not a movie I love, he's great in that as the priest who's doing some illegal stuff here. Capote, he took over that role. Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, which is a Sidney Lumet film, opposite Ethan Hawke, excellent. Magnolia, where he plays the nurse to a dying Jason Robards. Almost Famous, 25th Hour. Talented Mr. Ripley, he gives a great performance. Boogie Nights, where he's this complete oddball script guy, I guess. He's not really a cameraman. The Big Lebowski he's in, just tremendous. So Philip is always going to be my number 1. So there's the list.
Nice. What do we? How many different actors do you think we have? I think like 20, 23 or
28.
28 different actors.
Good
Nice.
call, Doc.
Good
Before
call,
we go
Doc.
on, before those who were not privy to it, Doc said 28. He said,
Yeah.
we all said 30 something. And then Doc said, it could be 28. Well, it's 28.
There you go.
Not
A
bad.
couple guys that I left off that are honorable mentions. You guys are welcome to do the same. I have Orson Welles. I always liked him on screen as an actor. Jack Lemmon, Sidney Poitier, of course, Gregory Peck, Kirk Douglas, Jack Warden, and Alan Arkin are the ones that came close to making my list. Anybody else?
My honorable mentions are Robert Ryan, who's also in The Professionals.
Yeah.
Go one.
Lee Marvin. I thought he was
Yeah.
always good. Man Shot Liberty Valance. He's great as Liberty Valance. William Powell, who's on all those movies with Myrna Loy. I thought he was great. The 10th Thin Man and other ones. Henry Fonda actually played a great bad guy in Once Upon a Time in the West. Also in a great screwball comedy in The Lady Eve. And George Sanders always played that sarcastic cad.
Yes, he did.
That's pretty funny. I had John Wayne down, I had Robert Mitchum, and I also had John Cazale. List. Even though we only had 5 or 6 movies, they were all fantastic movies, and he did fantastic in them. Maybe just not enough body of work, I guess, to squeeze him into the top 10.
Yep.
I would say I had Robert Shaw, Roy Schneider, James Caan. I had Lee Marvin written down as well. And those were probably the only ones or I had Jason Robards written down too, and Charles Bronson.
Oh, yeah. They're all great. Great list. 28 different actors in 26 and a half minutes. That's not bad.
Not bad.
So glad to have you guys join me for this. Don't forget to subscribe to Massey's Main Entertainment and Randall Nelson. Their channels will be in the description below. Join us next time. We don't know whether we're doing movies, music, but we'll come back with something. Give us a thumbs up, leave some comments, and be sure to check out our next video. Thanks, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Cool. I got the